The one in whom these imaginary visions and revelations were without any danger and entirely secure and divine was Most Holy Mary, whose interior light could not be obscured or invaded by the astuteness of the serpent. Our Queen was favored with many such visions, for of this kind were those which manifested to her many of the actions of her most holy Son while absent, as we shall see in the sequence of her life. She also perceived in imaginary visions many creatures and mysteries, whenever the Most High so dispensed it according to his will and providence. And since this and many benefits received by the sovereign Princess of Heaven were ordained for most high ends, not only for the advancement of her own sanctity, purity, and merits, but also for the advantage of the Church, of which this great Mother of Grace was to be a teacher and a cooperatrix in redemption, the effects of these visions and her understanding of them were admirable, and they were invariably accompanied by incomparable proofs of the glory of God, and of new and increasing gifts and graces in the soul of Most Holy Mary. Of the effects of these visions in other creatures, I will speak immediately below, for of these and the next kind of visions, the same can be said as far as their effects in other souls are concerned. Corporeal visions of divine origin enjoyed by Most Holy Mary. The fifth and lowest order of visions and revelations are those which are perceived by the corporeal and exterior senses, and that is the reason why they are called corporeal, although they can be brought about in two different ways. The one kind are truly and properly called corporeal visions, when in a visible and quantitative body some supernatural being appears to the sight or touch, be it God, a saint, or the demon, or a soul, and the like. Such body being formed for that very purpose by the ministry and power of good or of bad angels from the ether or from the phantasms, which, though it is no true or natural body of the thing represented by it, yet is truly a quantitative body constructed from the ether in external dimensions. The other kind of corporeal visions are such in an improper sense, rather an illusion of the sense of sight, for they are only an image of the object, its coloring, etc., which an angel can make visible by an alteration of the intervening air. The one that sees it thinks that he looks upon a real body actually present, though there is no such body, but only an empty image, by which the senses are imperceptibly fascinated. This kind of illusory visions of the senses is not proper to the good angels, nor to divine revelation, although they are possible to God and the angels. Such might have been the voice which Samuel heard. But they are a favorite ruse of the demon on account of their deceptiveness, especially in regard to the sight. Therefore, and because the Queen never had this kind of visions, I will speak only of the truly corporeal visions, such as she really enjoyed. In the Holy Scriptures are many instances of corporeal visions granted to the saints and patriarchs. Adam saw God represented in the form of an angel. Abraham saw 3 angels. Moses saw a bush, and many times the Lord himself. Likewise others, who were sinners, have had corporeal or imaginary visions, as for instance Cain, Balthazar, who saw the hand on the wall, then imaginary images, as for instance Pharaoh, in the vision of the cows, Nebuchadnezzar, that of the tree and the statue, and other recorded in the Holy Scriptures. These instances prove that in order to see corporeal and imaginary visions, sanctity is not required in the subject. But it is true, nevertheless, that they who obtain such an imaginary or corporeal vision without receiving therefrom any light or intelligence cannot be called prophets, nor can they be said to receive a true revelation, but only those who receive the necessary understanding of the vision, as Daniel says. Thus Joseph and Daniel were prophets, not, however, Pharaoh, Balthazar, Nebuchadnezzar. Moreover, those are the more important revelation and visions, which are accompanied by a higher intelligence, although, to judge from outward appearances, others may be called higher, namely, those which represent God or the Mother of God and the saints according to their station. It is certain that in order to receive corporeal visions, it is necessary that the senses should be prepared. The imaginary ones are often sent by God in sleep, as for instance in the vision of Joseph, the husband of Most Holy Mary, of the Magi kings, of Pharaoh, etc. Others can be perceived while the senses are in their full natural activity, this not being repugnant. But the ordinary and connatural manner of receiving the corporeal as well as the intellectual visions is during some rapture or ecstasy of the external senses. For in such a state the interior faculties are more collected and prepared for the perception of high and divine things. Yet the exterior senses are apt to be a hindrance less to the intellectual visions than to the imaginary ones, the latter having more affinity for exterior things than the acts of the intellect. Therefore, it often happens, whenever the intellectual revelations are not infused species, or when the affections do not suspend the action of the senses, that most high intelligences of great and supernatural mysteries are conferred without the cessation of the activity of the senses.